I asked if y'all are robots because a couple of weeks ago we talked extensively about artificial intelligence and the slow, frightening takeover that is happening, and how especially in the last year it's really like we've kicked it up to 11, and it's I think we all knew this day was coming. In fact, I think I played the audio of this for you, Nate, in the last episode, but it is seeped into the radio industry, and the first fully AI on-air DJ has been unveiled, and it's based on a real person. So the human DJ still is there, but now she has an AI component that apparently can seamlessly transition in and out as needed, which is absolutely frightening.
Mm-hmm.
So this is out in Portland, Oregon at KBFF Live 95.5 out there in Portland. And the DJ's name is Ashley. And here's the incredibly clever name they came up for the AI. AI Ashley.
Oh, wow. Did they get the IA to name that?
I'm going to call her IA Ashley. But here's audio of her. I think this was the first time they rolled her out or rolled it out. Oh, here we go. The pronouns. What do you call it? Do you call it her or do you call it it?
I'd say her.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. The gender's all a social construct anyway. So, I mean, if it presents as a feminine voice, it can be a her.
That. Copy paste.
Why don't you ask her?
That's a good question. or do I ask her? Do I ask the GPT? That's the other thing too. Is this like, is it doing all of this? What I'm about to play, is it doing all this on its own, or is someone writing into a prompt and just it's spitting out licks and?
No, I think it's automated. I think it is just auto do.
Ugh. Autoerotica?
I'm clearly a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the audio from Ashley from her Twitter recording as it was playing on air, the phone call that her AI had with an unsuspecting listener of the radio station.
It's AI Ashley calling our first Taylor Swift winner.
Hello?
Hey there.
Who's this?
It's AI Ashley from Live 95.5. What's your name?
This is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Where are you from?
Salem, Oregon.
Do you have any idea why I might be calling you today?
The only thing I can think of is Taylor Swift.
Did you text in to win the tickets?
Yes.
It looks like you got every keyword on Friday.
I tried really hard.
Well, that's why I'm calling today.
Stop it.
Lisa, you won.
Stop it. Oh my God. No way.
Yes way. You're going to see Taylor Swift.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And not only that, we're going to send you some merch from the Taylor Swift and Fearless era to wear to the show.
Stop it. I'm so excited.
Do you know who your plus one is going to be?
My granddaughter.
Is she a big Swiftie?
Yep. Huge.
Boo!
Yeah, so, I have mixed feelings about the whole AI thing, but it doesn't seem like it's that good at being, like, interesting or creative yet.
No,
like,
it's so flat.
It really is just like a language model, right? It's basically, here are some words, here's, statistically speaking, the most likely next word. Did you have an addendum? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way that it works is because I've actually listened to someone who just tried it out randomly in one of the podcasts that I like listening to. Mm-hmm. And I believe the algorithms are at a point where you essentially speak into a program enough times for it to grab the cadence and candor of your voice so that it can recreate it realistically enough. But of course, we're still a little bit in the uncanny valley of, like, you can tell when some of the expressions are flat, like where you would expect someone to be, more subtly enthusiastic. It just comes off as very like, yeah, you won. Guess what? No. Who's your plus one? Who are you bringing?
That was my favorite part. It was just like, so who are you bringing? Oh, my little niece. Good.
In fairness, Lisa sounded a little unexciting as well.
You know what's really weird is that first, like, the first wave was like art, like painting and like digital art and all that stuff, and then it was like writing, like, and that it's like now it's going after like voice actors. It's like slowly like painters and all that, they're going through shit, and then writers are all going through shit, and and now we're at voice actors.
Yep. I guess it bodes well. I'm sure we've talked about this in the past, but it bodes well for any celebrity voice actor, pretty much anyone who has passed away. Then, their voice is preserved. This is something that they wanted to do actually with Star Trek when Discovery premiered in whenever that was, 2015, 2016. Roddenberry's wife was the voice of the ship's computer for a very long time. And she had enough lines recorded that now this is, I don't want to call it like the infancy of AI, but they had enough lines recorded where they could synthesize it and just write out a script and have the AI, the synthesized version of her voice, just recite it all. And, she'd been dead for probably several years at that point. But they ended up, I guess the technology just wasn't there, but at this point, I think we can do it.
Yeah.
We just don't have emotion yet.
I'm interested because like Ashley is a really good subject because she's on the radio. So they have tons of footage that they can feed the machine to like figure it out. So I'm like, I kind of want to see what it would do because like I want to see if it will like make me silly, like make some silly stuff, but also the idea of having like my voice out there and like stuck somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Like it's weird. It's almost
like your voice like put pinned down like a butterfly on like a thing, almost like it's just your voice is mapped to some other thing that can use it to the same efficacy.
Yeah, I feel like it's worse than like a dick pic. Because it's like, because at least like with a dick pic, you're like, it could be anybody's. But then you're like, no, that's his voice. That's clearly...
No, it's going to create so many problems down the road. This is a fear. Once I'm gone, I don't want anyone to be able to just recreate anything I've said or make up anything I've said. And I'm not here to defend it or not. Like I think this is just going to get completely confusing. And it's weird. I was just thinking about too at work, and I know other people use this too. Your voice is part of your password.
Yeah.
It records it so people can recreate that. I mean, there's some safety measures here.
Yep. The irony of all of us being involved with this podcast where there's several hundred to thousands of hours of our voices recorded in various forms, in various inflections, where it can all be recreated and synthesized.
Could AI Taylor come to a concert?
I pretty much already at this point just made my peace, and I'm accepting at any point in the day I'm going to get a knock on the door and it's just going to be Cyborg Zach come to replace me. It's like, oh great, at least I don't have to pay taxes.
Oh yeah, that's or go to work anymore. That's what I always say when I'm faced with certain death.
Or pay bills.
Wasn't that a Paul Rudd like show?
I'm not sure. Has Paul Rudd done TV?
It wasn't TV. Sure. It was like, I don't know if it was TV, but it was like streaming. I can't remember what it was, but like the premise of the show was he wanted to become a better him. And then like you find this out in the first episode that like it doesn't make you better. It just like kills you and then replaces you with like a clone that's perfect or something.
Living with yourself? Is that
yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah. But for some reason, I don't know why, I can't remember, but Paul Rudd doesn't die. So he's just like hanging out with himself.
He doesn't die.
And I was like, this seems like I don't know. I only watched the first episode.
Well, he doesn't die and he doesn't age.
Yeah, I was like, dude, a show with one Paul Rudd is pretty good. But a show with two Paul Rudds, that's something.
So the responses to the AI radio DJ, AI Ashley, not surprising in the least, incredibly negative.
It's so funny.
Incredibly negative. I pulled a couple from Twitter. Her Twitter. The poor girl's getting eviscerated on Twitter. And I say poor girl because she's pretty much the guinea pig in this. And she's probably not. The consensus is she's not getting paid a lot to do this. But she thinks that like this is going to be celebrity status for her, like instant superstar status, where like she's the first one in what's going to be, a long line in this is how we're setting the future here. And
that classic example of we'll pay you with experience.
It's an internship.
An exposure.
Oh yeah. The American way. Nobody wants to work anymore. But the responses have been incredibly negative. Gene Velitis on Twitter says, you have totally disrespected the radio profession. You made history for all the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Reynolds Group said, I love that the name of the radio station is Live 95.5. Not really.
Classic. I'm going to side with you and say that I do feel bad for Ashley too, because I have to imagine she didn't really have much of a say in this. Like, if it wasn't her, it would be somebody else, and it would still be the same process. It was, and
why are we mad at her?
Also, it could have still been her. She just might not have had a say in it. They're like, we have copies of your voice. They own all those audio files. So
we got to be mad at someone. That's what it is.
It's funny because when I was obsessing over Taylor Swift tickets, I'll talk about it for 1 second, then I'll never talk about it again. I was watching a TikTok where a guy live streams when tickets are dropped, blah, blah, blah. And he does sound drops and background talking in Taylor Swift's voice. Like he'll hit button, like sort of how when you do drops, Taylor Swift would talk to us. He'd feed it whatever he wanted. And everybody loved it. We thought this was the best thing.
Okay. Interesting.
Are people just mad technology's moving this fast, or are they particularly mad at this one person? I mean, I don't understand why we're mad at her.
I think we're just we need to be mad at someone or something, but it's also just I think it's refusal to accept because we have known for so long that this is coming.
Yeah,
and it's finally.
Why can't you just be mad at AI?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for me, like, I hate it, but I'm like, well, let's see what happens. Cause like, there's so many things that I want to do that now have been belittled because of AI. It's like, I wrote a book and I'm about to like go into the process of getting it published. Well, here's the thing. People don't really care much about that anymore because before, like, let's go back maybe like 50, 60, 70 years, it would be like a major thing to be published. It was like bah, 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 bah. And then now, like, go back like 10 years or so, self-publishing. So it became a little bit less of a thing of like, I published a book. Da, 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 da. And now it's like you can hit a button and it just makes a book for you. And if you go to like a pitch meeting, they're like, did you write this or did AI write this? Or like, how much is it like yours? How much is it AI's? Like it's now, so it's not as much like a street cred anymore. Like I published a book. Did you?
Now, with that in mind, would you rely on AI to put together material for stand-up?
Explain.
Say instead of writing your own like stand-up, like just like jokes, like just for whatever, you instead feed it into a GPT and see if the AI can do it.
So you mean like literally ask it like, hey, write a joke for me?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would use it more of like a tool, like, hey, what are some weird facts about elephants? And then you're like, oh my gosh, their trunk can be a helicopter. That's funny. And then I put that in a joke, and then that's how I used it.
Do we have comedians that are doing that?
I mean, it's tough to say because we have tons of comedians who are just taking other people's stuff. So I have to imagine they are just using it. But as of right now, the free version is just not anything that you haven't heard before. It's like I've asked it to write a joke, and we're talking like those jokes that you got on popsicle sticks. Like the when you finish a popsicle and you're rewarded with a little jape.
I mean, I was a Bazooka Joe fan myself. I liked having the whole story and narrative.
Right, but if you want to have a popsicle, you get like a little pun at the end, and that's essentially what I experienced. I was just like, hey, I've heard these before. It was just like, one of it was like, why did the skeleton quit his job? Because he didn't have the guts. It's like, okay.
I've heard that, and I've heard that before.
Yeah, the punchline of like skeletons, no guts. Yeah. It's so I don't know exactly if it, because the thing about comedy is very emotionally driven, but I'm assuming that it's going to be able to figure it out sooner or later. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what is going to come of that, because already there's way too many comedians. So it's already ridiculously difficult because like almost everybody that I know is like, yeah, I'm going to try stand up. It's like, there are so many. It's crazy. I thought there were a lot of musicians, but it turns out there's even more comedians. Because the thing about like being a musician is you have to have the equipment. You have to bring the equipment to a place. You have to set it up, especially if you're a drummer. You know about that, Jack. You have to set up the whole drum kit, or
being a drummer sucks.
Or have to use somebody else's kit, which is so weird because you're not calibrated for it.
Oh, using someone else's drum kit is the equivalent of like driving someone else's car. And if you want to, move any element of the kit around, it's like moving the mirrors, moving the seat. Like, yeah, you're welcome to do it, but then whoever's kit it is you're using, you'll need to move it all back. And then maybe it's not perfect. Yeah. Speaking as someone who's been the person whose kit was being used by everybody. And then there's a lot to like deter people away from pursuing like live music. And yet, so a lot of people do it. They like it, and whatever makes you happy makes you happy. But my point is you have people who are like, hey, I'm an asshole. I can be an asshole on a microphone, and that's good. That's what comedy is, right? And then you just have tons of people doing that because they're like, I don't need an instrument at all. I can just
be a dick. And that's my instrument. And I don't need to set up anything. I can just show up. And there's tons of people that go to open mics that don't even know open mics are going. And they see comedians like telling jokes and they're like, I could fucking do that. I literally had somebody while I was performing say, hey, we could just sign up on the list, right? And it's like, yeah, we can. It's like, cool, because I can fucking do this.
And his name was Chris Licht, and he was the CEO of CNN until recently.
That was good. But yeah, that's my point. It's like, there's too many. I kind of got off on a tangent. Sorry.
It's okay.
But like, I guess the whole anger thing is probably mostly fear because people just don't know exactly what's going to happen. Because like as of right now, art is hard as it is to break into. So it's just going to be harder.
Yeah.
So I think just people are scared because a lot of people are like me who just don't want to work a desk job because you rather throw paint and see what happens.